Hey there, fabulous financiers. Welcome back to another episode of the Do.Different.Better Show, where we talk about wealth, wisdom, and money moves, making finance simple for everyday people. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen, CEO and founder of Social Impact Now and Connective Institute, and managing director of the Integrated Capital Fund. Thanks for joining me today. So, last week we talked about overcoming fear and anxiety as it relates to money. Today, we are diving into a topic that can literally save you money every day, and that is negotiating or negotiation. Yet, I'm talking about the art of getting the best deal, whether you're buying a car, you're haggling at the flea market, or even negotiating a raise at work. We're going to break down why you should never be afraid to negotiate and how simple it can effectively get you to save money in just simple everyday transactions. So, whether you're new to the art of negotiation or you just need to sharpen your skills, this episode is for you. So let's kick things off by first understanding why negotiation matters and some of the basic techniques that you can use to get more comfortable with negotiating. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to become a master deal maker. I'll also share some of my own good and not so good negotiations. So, first, let's start off with the basic question. Why does negotiation even matter? Why should you care about haggling for a better deal? Well, let me ask you this. Do you enjoy paying full price for anything? No, exactly. Negotiation is how you avoid doing that. Personally, I'm allergic to paying retail. But beyond saving money, negotiation is about empowerment. It's about making sure that you're not leaving money on the table. When you negotiate, you're taking control of the financial interactions in your life. And here's the thing, negotiation isn't just for big deals like salary negotiations or buying a house. You can negotiate in everyday situations too, like getting a discount at a store or asking for a better deal on your internet bill. Once you start thinking and working like a negotiator, you'll realize how much power you have in every financial transaction. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that nearly 60% of people don't even negotiate, even when they know that it's something that they should do or that it would be to their advantage if they tried to negotiate? That's like handing over free money. You've got to remember that most things in life, especially prices, aren't set in stone. So let's break down these barriers and get you more comfortable with asking for what you want. So, why don't people negotiate? Well, most of the time it comes down to fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, or fear of looking cheap. But let me tell you something, negotiation doesn't have to be uncomfortable or even confrontational. In fact, quite the opposite is true. It's just a conversation. There are some cultures that are very, very grounded in negotiation. Everything is a negotiation. And then you have some cultures where negotiating is actually seen as an insult. And that's totally understandable. But from the Western perspective and being here in the United States, there is a anticipation of negotiation, particularly when you get to things like buying a house or buying a car. But making this part of your normal routine of just asking, if you don't ask, you don't get, right? So, but let's talk about the first step. The first step to overcoming your fear is to change the way you think about negotiation. Instead of seeing it as a confrontation, consider thinking of it as a collaboration or a dance. When you are dancing with somebody, whether it's dancing in the club or you're a ballroom dancer or any kind of dancing, even break dancing, right? It is a collaboration between you and one or more other people that are involved in this dance, right? So I was a classically trained dancer. And when you are dancing in a big production or if you're dancing with a partner, it's this constant negotiation of like, what's going to be the safest thing for you? What's going to give the aesthetic appearance that you're trying to provide for the audience? And so you're constantly navigating, particularly in the choreography process. Well, this is really no different. You're not asking for a handout. You're just finding a way to make the deal work for both parties. And guess what? The other party expects it. Businesses build negotiation into their pricing strategy. They're not going to think less of you for asking. They might actually respect you a little bit more. So here's a tip. Here's an easy way to practice. The next time you're at the store, any store, it doesn't matter what it is, ask for a discount. Yep, even if it's a big chain store, ask. You'd be surprised at how often you can get a discount just by asking. It could be 10% off, or maybe it's waiving the delivery fee. The point is to get used to making the ask. You may not get it, you might get it 10% of the time, but think if you save $20 every time in the 10% average over a lifetime, what amount of money is that back in your pocket? One thing I always ask is, are there any coupons or special deals going on today? Is there a happy hour when I go out to restaurants? There might be a happy hour that you don't even know, and your meals might be half price, right? So just asking like, hey, do you have any specials going on right now? Is today a special day? We are celebrating somebody's birthday or anniversary. Is there free dessert, right? Those kinds of things. You might be surprised at the number of times when somebody will actually say yes, even at the grocery store. So here is my call to action for you right now. Make it a goal to negotiate something next week, whether it's getting a discount on groceries or calling up the cable company to ask for a better rate. Just do it. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. So now that we've talked about why you should negotiate, now let's talk about some basic negotiation techniques you can start today. Anchoring. Anchoring is when you set the stage for the negotiation by being the first to put a number on the table. Let's say you're buying a car. If the asking price is $15,000, you might offer $13,000. By doing this, you're anchoring the negotiation closer to your ideal price. Now, your person you're negotiating with also has their price that they're looking for. It may not be the $15,000, but by doing this, you're anchoring the negotiation closer to your ideal price. The seller is likely to counter with something higher, but because you've anchored low, you've set the range of the negotiation, which is between $15,000 and $13,000. The next tactic is mirroring. This is a simple but effective way that when you mirror the other person's language or behavior, for example, if someone says, this product is top of the line, you might respond with, top of the line, huh? So what makes it stand out from the competition? Mirroring not only shows you that you're engaged, but it also allows you to build rapport, making the person more likely to work with you because they like you. They see something in you that they like. The next one I'll give you is active listening. This one might seem basic, but it's crucial. And it's not only crucial in negotiating, but really in everyday life, particularly at work when you're working in teams. When you're negotiating, you need to really listen to what the other person is saying. Are they worried about losing the sale? Are they trying to hit a certain number? By actively listening, you can pick up on clues that help you frame your ask in a way that meets their needs too. Practice active listening the next time you go into negotiation, even if it's with your spouse and negotiating where you're going to have dinner tonight. Instead of thinking about your next move, really focus on what the person is saying. You might be surprised at how much you learn that can help you in the negotiation and possibly make sure that you both get something that you want, or at the very least, what you want. So here are some common mistakes to avoid Now, as much as I want you to be a confident negotiator, we've got to talk about some of the common mistakes that people make when they're negotiating. Because let's be real, we've all made these mistakes at some point. First, being too aggressive. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is by thinking going into the negotiation and being overly aggressive. This is not a cute look. You don't have to steamroll the other person to get what you want. Although there are some people that is a standard negotiating practice. And maybe they're successful because they're dealing with people who are not as assertive as I'm teaching you to be. But in fact, this approach often backfires because it puts the other person on the defensive. And we as humans don't like to be put on the defensive. Remember, negotiation is about finding a solution that works for everyone. You might have seen on those real estate shows like Million Dollar Listing or even Shark Tank when somebody makes a ridiculous offer and the person is actually seen as a jerk or someone that you don't want to do business with. It can feel like the person is not negotiating in good faith. When you're negotiating in good faith, it means that everyone's going to walk away comfortable with their discomfort in the deal. Or, in other words, everyone is getting some of what they wanted and a little bit of what they didn't. 2, not doing your homework. You've heard this on the show several times. Homework, homework, homework. Preparation is the best thing to do, right? I often like to say opportunity is preparation meeting luck, right? When you receive something, when you're lucky, but if you are prepared for it, then it's an opportunity, right? So not doing your homework, another common mistake of not being prepared in the negotiation. If you're negotiating a big ticket item like a car or your salary, you've got to do the research. What is the market rate? What are others paying? The more informed you are, the stronger your position will be. So I'll give you an example. I helped my son negotiate the value of his car with the insurance company when he was T-boned in a car accident and the car was basically totaled. The insurance company was offering a low-ball price for the replacement value of his vehicle, which he had just purchased a few years before. So we got on the interwebs, me and my son, and we did some research and we found out that there were less than 5 cars like his in a 5-state area. The average selling price of those cars were 20% more than what the insurance company was offered. We also made the case of how this type of car holds its value among its owners, which is why there were so few available on the market, thereby increasing the value as well. In the end, my son was able to get the insurance company to add another $2,500 onto the value, which gave him more money than what he actually paid for the car 6 years earlier. Because we negotiated the price down over $1,000, So when when my son bought the car, but with the insurance payment, basically he actually got $1,000 more than what he actually paid for the car 6 years earlier. So that was one opportunity where he got paid to drive his car and he was able to get a much newer car than the one that he had with all the bells and whistles of what he wanted. So these are the ways that negotiation can be really done to your benefit. So the next one, accepting the first offer, is another pitfall. Too many people fear the first offer. Too many people hear the first offer and say, okay, that works for me. Listen, the first offer is almost never the best offer. Always counter, even if it's just a small amount. It shows that you're serious about getting the best deal possible, but you want the other party to stay engaged. So here's another fun fact. According to a study, people who negotiated their salary at their first job made on average $5,000 more per year than those who didn't. Can you just imagine over a 40-year career? That's an additional $200,000. So yeah, it pays to negotiate. So here's my call to action. Okay. Now that we've covered a lot in this particular segment about starting small and building confidence, right? Negotiation does not have to be scary. It's a skill that anyone can learn, and it starts with very small steps. So here's my challenge to you. Start negotiating in your everyday life, whether it's asking for a discount at the grocery store, it's getting a better deal on a service, just make the ask. Yes, some people are going to tell you no. You might even get a lot of no's, but you might be surprised at the yeses that you get. But making the ask is like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you are going to get. In the next segment, we'll be taking a deep dive into some specific situations where negotiation can save you some big money, things like car purchases, your bills, and other kinds of services. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. If you found this helpful so far, make sure you subscribe and share this episode with a friend who could use some negotiation tips. Now, let's get out there, start saving money, one negotiation at a time. See us after the break, and I'll show you how to do different better. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Do Different Better Show. If you're just tuning in, today we're talking about the art of a negotiation and how to save money on every deal. In this segment, we're going to go over some basic negotiation strategies to help you get comfortable with the idea of negotiating in everyday situations. Now, we're going to get really specific, talking about negotiating big purchases and services, whether it's buying a car, lowering your phone bill, or getting a better price on an appliance. These tips will have you walking away with more money in your pocket and a whole lot of confidence. So let's get started. Let's kick things off by talking about some of the bigger purchases that we make, like cars, appliances, and electronics. These are big ticket items that can cost you thousands of dollars, which is why knowing how to negotiate can make such a huge difference. I know a lot of people get nervous when negotiation for something as significant as a car, but that's exactly where you can save the most money if you go in and prepare. So let's start with negotiating at car dealerships. When you walk into a car dealership, it's like you're stepping into a high pressure sales environment. But here's the thing, the salesperson expects you to negotiate. One of the best strategies when buying a car is to do your homework. Before you even step foot onto the lot, look up the car's market value using websites like Kelley Blue Book and find out what other dealerships are offering and how far away from you are they so that you know whether or not you're willing to walk away from the deal. Once you have that information, you're in a great position to negotiate. Don't be afraid to push back on the sticker price. A lot of times, the first price they give you isn't the best deal. Tip: you can even negotiate additional perks like free maintenance for a year or an extended warranty. And here's a power move: if you're not happy with the deal, be prepared to walk away. When the salesperson sees you're ready to leave, they might sweeten the deal just to keep you in the door. A bird in the hand, right, is worth more than two in the bush. I'm going to share the story of my first car purchase. I must have been about 20 years old. I actually happened to be walking by this dealership and I saw this car. I really wasn't prepared to. I knew I needed a car, but I hadn't started actively shopping for a car. So I'd walk past this dealership and I'm like, oh, there's a car. I was looking at the price. I'm like, I think I can negotiate that price down to what I could pay for it. It wasn't a big distance between what they were asking for it and what I could pay for it, but I knew that what they were asking for was not what I could pay for it. I wasn't necessarily thinking about negotiation. I was just very clear about where I was in my life as far as what I could afford to pay for a car payment. So that's all I had with me. I was armed with that when I went into this dealership to talk to the salesperson about this car. So I'm talking about the car, and I said, listen, at the end of the day, my car payment needs to be $150. That's all that I can afford. So if there is a pathway to get to that, and I had already calculated that the price on the sticker price of the car, like if I broke that down into 3 or 4 or 5 year payments, was not going to get me to 150. So I figured out what the price, the lowest, the maximum price I could have that gets me as close to $150 monthly payment as possible. And so it was a tough negotiation. And once again, I wasn't even thinking about it as a negotiation. I just knew how much money I had to spend. And so I did not have the luxury of saying that I could go up another 30, 40, $50, right? And so over the course, I mean, it was a while of going back and forth and talking to the manager, the financing and this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, I think I got my car payment. It was $161 a month. You have to remember this was like early 90s, but I was able to walk away with a payment that I felt comfortable with. They got what they wanted. I got what I wanted. They didn't get the sticker price, but I didn't pay the sticker price. But I think I ended up paying probably maybe $2,000 or $3,000 less than what the sticker price was. And they're going to make the money back with interest payments anyway, because I did the financing through the company. So there's no skin off of their noses for them to take $3,000 up front, because I'm going to be probably paying more than $3,000 in interest over the life of the loan for the car. But what was so funny was at the end of the negotiation, at a successful negotiation, I actually walked away with the car keys. The manager offered me a job. So I didn't do bad. I didn't do too bad on the deal, but I think I heard this podcast, I probably could have done a little bit better. So now we're going to talk about appliances and electronics. So whether you're buying a new refrigerator or a washer and dryer or even a TV, there's always room to negotiate. One of the easiest ways to save money is by asking for price matching. Big retailers often have price matching policies, which means if you find a lower price at another store, they'll match it. And sometimes they'll even match it within a certain amount of days after you purchase the item. So let's say you purchase an item and they have a 7-day policy. You can come back anytime within those 7 days, show them that this item usually it has to be the exact same item is on sale in another store. They will give you a credit or a refund for the difference. So, big retailers often have price matching. And so you definitely want to utilize this tactic. That's an instant win for you. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. You can negotiate on the floor models and open box items too. These are often discounted anyway, but you can ask for an even lower discount price because they've been used or have some minor cosmetic issues or people have been touching them. And some people actually prefer, hey, I want something new out of the box. So actually the floor models are more difficult for them to sell. So you're actually taking something off of their plate, especially if you're at the end of at the end of a year model, right? So this happens a lot with cars. You start getting into like October, November, the next year's models are coming to the lot. So the car dealerships need to make room. Well, how are they going to make room? They need to sell the cars that are on the lot. So by taking something, a floor model, whether it's a car, whether it's a refrigerator, you're actually helping them get merchandise off the floor so that they can have space to move in the new merchandise for the next coming year. So this is where you want to be tactical about when you make your purchase. Understand, when do the new cars come out? If you're looking to buy maybe a car that's 1 year old as opposed to the new car that's coming out for the next year. You also, same thing with washers and dryers. If you know that, hey, you see the announcement that there's a new version of a particular brand that you particularly like, and you're like, oh, they're doing an upgrade. Oh, this is probably a good time for me to shop for last year's model or the model from 2 years ago, because the stores are going to need space to put that new model in. And so once again, you're doing them a favor, right? A little scratch on the side of a refrigerator can mean a few $100s knocked off of the price tag for you. So now let's switch gears and talk about negotiating services. This is an area where people don't even think about asking to negotiate, and there's a lot of savings potential there. I'm talking about things like your internet bill, your phone bill, your cable bill, and sometimes even healthcare expenses. Yes, you can negotiate these as well. So first, let's get into the internet. I want you to think about how much you pay for your internet or your phone service right now. Chances are it's probably more than when you first signed up. Companies often raise their prices after your introductory period ends, but that doesn't mean you have to accept it. The key here is to call the service provider and ask for a better rate. Tell them that you've been a loyal customer and that you're considering switching to a competitor who's offering a lower price. Now, you don't want that to be a veiled threat. Once again, this is where research comes in. Having done your homework so that when they ask you, oh, can you tell us who that provider is? Can you tell us what the price is? They might want to match the price. Many companies have a retention department whose whole job it is to keep you as a customer. So they'll often give you a loyalty discount or match the competitor's price to make you stay with them. Here's even a little script that you can use. Hi, I've been a customer for a while, but I've noticed that my bill has increased significantly. I'm considering switching to whatever the competitor's name is, who's offering a lower rate at this time. Is there anything that you can do to help me stay? 9 times out of 10, they'll offer you a discount or some special promotion to keep you as a customer. And hey, if they don't, switch. There's no harm in shopping around for a better deal. Oh, I think I've got the hiccups. So two, let's talk about on negotiating healthcare costs. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can negotiate some of your medical bills. If you've ever been hit with a surprise medical bill, you know how stressful that can be. But here's the good news: medical providers are often willing to work with you, especially if you're paying out of pocket or if insurance doesn't cover everything. Start first by reviewing the bill carefully. Make sure that there aren't any errors. I cannot tell you how often people have received on their bill saying that they received a medication, they received some kind of test, and they really didn't get that test. So that can be hundreds of thousands of dollars off of your bill if you see that, hey, the medical facility is saying that they gave me penicillin. I did not get penicillin. So you'll definitely want to get a copy of your medical records for that visit so that you can see if there's been some kind of mistake in what was charted, which is how they bill, and versus what you actually were provided as far as healthcare services, right? So if the bill is still too high, oh, let me start. If you find anything that's questionable, call the billing department and ask them to explain the charges. If the bill is still too high, ask if they offer payment plans or if they can reduce the total amount. Some hospitals and clinics have financial assistance programs that can significantly reduce your bill if you qualify. Many of them have some income threshold minimums or maximums, and so you want to be mindful of that. But once again, if you don't ask, you don't get. Just ask and see what they can offer you and see what the opportunities are available and what are the things that will need to qualify to get you there. So another great way to save money, especially when you're dealing with big retailers, is by taking advantage of price matching and bundling services. Price matching, as I mentioned earlier, is when the store agrees to match the competitor's price for the same product. And many times it's got to be the same exact product. But did you know some stores will beat the competitor's price by an extra 10%? So once again, always ask. You've got nothing to lose, right? You get 100% of what you don't ask for, right? Bundling is another strategy that can save you a lot of money, especially on services. So think about things like your insurance policies, your internet, or your phone services. Many companies will give you a discount if you bundle these services together, so don't be afraid to ask for it. So here's an example. Let's say you're getting your home, auto, and life insurance. Call the insurance company and ask if they offer discounts for bundling all three, and especially if you have your insurance policies in three different places. Bundling all under one roof actually makes it easy for you to manage. If they do, you could save hundreds or even thousands of dollars each year. And this applies to tech products too. Sometimes electronic stores will give you a discount if you're bundling multiple items like laptops and accessories. But also look for some of your other services that you use, right? So I had a masseuse, a massage therapist for about 3 years. And I actually found her on a Groupon, loved her so much, became a regular customer. And I go get massages probably at least once every other month, if not once a month. And what I said to her was, hey, I'd be willing to be a willing customer, a long-term customer. Can you give me a discount if I buy 3 massages at a time or 6 massages at a time? And so it really worked out great. I saved almost $40 a massage by buying them in bulk or buying them bundled, right? I would pay for them in advance, a flat fee, and then I would be entitled to a certain number of massages based on the price, right, based on the bundle price that we negotiated. So once again, even with your massage therapist, your gym trainer, ask folks like, if you're providing to them guaranteed income for a certain period of time and they're willing to forego a little bit of money to be able to know that they're going to be have an income, a revenue stream for a certain amount of time. So any kind of service that you've been paying on a one-off basis, maybe even your manicurist, it's like, hey, I'm going to be a loyal customer for the next 3 to 6 months. Would you be willing, if I paid in advance, to give me $10, $20, $30 off of getting my nails done? If I come every 3 weeks. So once again, these are just different ways that you can start to think about adapting practical steps. So let's wrap up this segment with some actionable steps that you can take right now to start saving money. Action step number 1, review your monthly bills, whether it's your phone bill, your internet bill, your cable bill. Call the provider and ask them for a discount or a better rate. Use the loyalty discount script I mentioned earlier. Number 2, if you're in the market for a new car, appliance, or electronic, research before you buy. Check out the prices online, look for open box deals, and don't be afraid to negotiate at the store. Some of these stores have their own outlets, and even at the outlet, you can negotiate a better deal than the sticker price. And then action step 3, explore bundling options with service providers. Whether it's insurance or tech services, bundling can save you more money than you think. So here's my call to action. I challenge you to negotiate something this week, whether it's a small discount at the grocery store or calling your internet provider for a better deal. Just give it a shot. You might be surprised at how much you save. And I want you to tell me how much you save. So that's it for this segment on negotiating purchases and services. I hope you're feeling empowered to take control of your spending and save money in ways you never thought possible. Stick around because in the next segment, we're going to be covering advanced negotiating techniques and how to practice these skills in everyday life to get the best deals every time. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and share it with your friends who could use some negotiation inspiration. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the Do.Different.Better Show. I'm your host, Elaine Rasmussen. So far, we've explored the basics of negotiation and covered how you can save money on big purchases and everyday services. Now it's time to take things way up a notch. In this segment, we're diving into advanced negotiating tactics and practical ways to hone your skills by incorporating negotiation into your daily life. Trust me, by the end of this segment, you'll be ready to negotiate like a pro, even when it comes to the little things. So let's get started. So first, I have to tell you, my master's and doctoral work in grad school was in conflict analysis and resolution. So a lot of what I'm sharing with you, there's actually hard science and lots of years of study that have come up with these negotiation tactics. So I want you to know, like, these are great whether you're trying to go negotiate a deal, even if you're trying to negotiate hanging out with your friends or where you guys are going to take a trip together, right? So I really want you to pay attention to this because it's just not about negotiating financial matters, but these are going to be some things that you can use in other aspects of your life that are going to be very beneficial. So the first tactic is what's called BATNA. Okay. We're going to kick things off with this essential concept in advanced negotiation. BATNA stands for Best Alternative to a Negotiated Agreement. Fancy pants, right? But don't worry, it's really actually pretty simple. Your BATNA is your backup plan. It's the best outcome that you can expect if the negotiation doesn't go your way. So before you even walk into negotiation, you should always know what is your BATNA. That way, you have a clear understanding of what your next steps are if the deal falls through or is not seeming like is being operated in good faith or is not coming anywhere near. Maybe you're negotiating with somebody who's kind of one of those negotiating jerks where they're overly aggressive and they're not willing to budge. And here's the best part. It often makes the other side more flexible because they know you have options, right? So here's an example. Let's say you're negotiating a job offer, but you already have a second offer on the table. That second offer is your BATNA. If the employer isn't willing to meet your terms, you're comfortable with saying no thanks because you have a solid alternative waiting in the wings. Once again, here's a tip. Always do your research and have a clear idea of your best alternatives. Whether you're buying in a car or negotiating your salary, knowing your options will help keep you grounded and not emotional in the negotiation process. And which will help you make smarter decisions, right? Number 2, building a rapport. The power of building a rapport with the person you're negotiating is essential. Now, there are some people who come from the school of thought of like, hate your enemy, hate the person you're negotiating with. I don't prescribe to that. I find you get far more with honey than you do with vinegar, right? But you need to know that there are some people that are really grounded in that sort of negotiation tactic. They're just full of piss and vinegar, right? So you just have to know that. And whether it's breathing exercises or whatever it is that you feel that you need, these are the things that you're going to use to negotiate. You're going to use to be able to know when to walk away, right? So here's the thing. People are more likely to give you what they want if they like you. It's psychology 101. And you can do this by starting to establish a connection with the person that you're negotiating. Ask them how their day is going. Find some common ground. Maybe you both have children. Maybe you both have skydived. Maybe you both like hip hop music. Smile. People like to make deals with people they like, right? Now, sometimes you have to make deals with people you don't like, but if given a choice, if you ask people, they much rather do deals with people they like than people they don't like. When you show that you are not there just to win, but to have a productive conversation, the negotiation becomes less adversarial and more collaborative. Once again, understanding that you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And so the whole idea is, can you win as much as you can and lose as little as you can? So once again, here's another example. Let's say you're negotiating with a contractor for some home renovations. Instead of just jumping right to talking about the price, start asking them about how their business is going, how long they've been in the area, or even compliment them on a previous project that they've done. This human touch can make them more willing to work with you on the final price. Or say to them, hey, if this goes well, I know 3 or 4 people I'd love to refer you to. Right? Letting them know that there's a potential for new business and that you're that connection to 2 or 3 more opportunities may be more likely they're going to give you a little bit of a discount to be able to anticipate getting those other referrals. But I want you to just, once again, don't underestimate the power of genuine connection. A little bit of kindness and respect goes a long way in getting people to your side. When I have contractors come to my house, I'm like, hey, can I get you a bottle of water? Can I get you some juice? We've got some chips here. Can I, are you okay? Especially when they're getting ready to leave the house. I'm like, oh, would you like a water for the road? Right? It just shows that you see them and they're like, oh, this person is a nice person. People want to do nice things for nice people. Okay. Number 3, win-win negotiation. Okay. This is a technique when both parties walk away feeling like they've gained something. In other words, the goal isn't just to beat the other person, but to find a solution that benefits both of you. When you approach a negotiation with the mindset of collaboration rather than competition, it opens the door to creative solutions. Maybe the seller isn't willing to lower the price on that product, but they're willing to throw in a free extended warranty and some bonus accessories. That's still a win for you. And a win for them because they didn't have to lower the price. So here's an example. Imagine you're buying a car and the dealership won't budge from the sticker price. Instead of walking away frustrated, try negotiating for added value. Ask if they can include some free oil changes for a year, or an upgrade on premium mats, or car washes once a month. Even though you didn't get the price lowered, you're still getting more value for the money that you're actually spending. And quite frankly, some of those things don't cost them a lot of money. Here's a tip. When you're negotiating, always be on the lookout for creative win-win solutions. It's not just about getting the lowest price, but about getting the best value. So now that we've covered some advanced techniques, here's the big question. How do you practice negotiation and get better at it? The simple answer is incorporating it into your daily life, as I've mentioned. You don't have to wait for your next big purchase or job offer to practice these skills. There are opportunities all around you to negotiate. So here's 2 tips. Number 1, start small. If you're at a flea market or garage sale, that's a perfect opportunity to practice your negotiation skills. The stakes are low. The people selling items expect a little back and forth on the pricing. Not only is it a good practice, but it also helps you with a few bucks on things you didn't even know that you can negotiate on. 2, everyday services. Another place to practice is in everyday services. Negotiating your gym membership, for example, is a fantastic way to get more comfortable with asking for better terms. If you're renewing a membership, ask for a discount. See if they're offering any promotions. You'll be surprised. Maybe they're offering 3 months of free training. Okay, that's great. If you didn't ask, you would have never even gotten it. And how often you'll get the yes, you'll simply be amazed just because you ask. I am noted in my family. I'm often joked about in my family that people love to give me free things. And I'm like, yes, but I'm also just asking for them. So the joke with my sisters-in-law are always like, yeah, people just love giving stuff away to you, giving you free stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't think that they enjoy giving out free stuff. I just ask for it. So And I think part of that is because I like to make a game out of it, right? So here's a tip. Make it a game. How many things can you negotiate in a week? Whether it's your cable bill, your phone bill, or even your next online purchase. Challenge yourself to ask for a better deal. You'll be amazed how much you save and just by being bold enough to ask. But here's another thing. I want you to take the money that you save from all of those deals and put those into a high yield savings account, which then can add up for you to have money to invest into some of the things that we've talked about in some of the other episodes. So now I know that negotiating might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to it, but just like any other skill, you just need to practice. Here are some keys to building up some of your confidence. Doing small wins. Every time you negotiate successfully, whether it's getting a $10 discount or negotiating an extra week of vacation at work, you're building your confidence. And guess what? Those small wins add up. Over time, you'll find that you're getting yourself more comfortable. 2, track your progress. I was just talking about this. Another way to build your confidence is to track your progress. Keep a journal or note on your phone that says every time you negotiate how much you've saved. Seeing that number grow will help you motivate you to keep negotiating. And then 3, learn from setbacks. And don't worry if something doesn't go your way. Sometimes you'll hear no, and that's okay. Every negotiation, successful or not, is a learning experience. Ask yourself, what could you have done differently, and apply those to your next negotiation. So here are some practical tips and your action steps for the week. Number 1, identify one low stakes opportunity to negotiate this week. Maybe it's at the farmer's market, or maybe it's at a garage sale, or just pick something easy and give it a try, right? Action step number 2, practice negotiating on one of your reoccurring bills. Call up your cable company, your insurance provider, your internet provider, and ask for a loyalty discount. Use these tactics, what we discussed earlier in the show. Insurance is a big one. And I want to talk about really quickly the cable. So typically you'll have these, they may give you a discount and they may say, hey, this discount is only good for 12 months, 24 months. What I will do is I will put a tickler on my phone. I will put a meeting reminder. I will put a task reminder of in 11 and a half months to call the cable company back, call the insurance company back, and ask the same question, right? Because they're more likely to keep you at that same price, which is a negotiated price, or you can ask for a lower price than that price on the promotion, right? Another tactic is to wait till the promotion's over, ask for a new discount, and that discount might even be better than the one that you had before. So these are a couple of tactics, but once again, it is a little bit of wanting to take advantage on a regular basis. So like I said, for your insurance company, calling them once a year and saying, hey, can I get a discount? Can I get a loyalty discount? Whatever that maybe is. And then finally, the last action step is to write down your small wins. Every time you save money through negotiation, keep track of it and watch how quickly these savings will add up. So here's my final call to action. Don't forget to share your negotiation wins with us on social media using the hashtag #NegotiateBetter. We want to hear about your successes and the lessons that you've learned. And if you're enjoying the show, please leave a review and share with a friend who could use a little help with mastering the art of negotiation. Well, that's it for today's episode of Do Different Better. I hope you're feeling excited to go out there and negotiate your way to better deals and bigger savings. Remember, negotiation is a skill, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. I hope you have found these tips helpful and that you are ready to take action. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Join me in some upcoming episodes when I'll be announcing some very special guests who are offering some great discounted services and events that you do not want to miss. Next week, we're talking about the ins and outs of digital wallets, what they are, how they work, and how they can save you time and stress in the modern financial world. If you have found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode. Let me know what you think of the show. We love comments, so tell us how this show has helped you. If there's a finance or money question you have, or if there's someone you want me to interview, hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram. My Instagram handle is Do Better with Elaine. Until next time, stay empowered, stay focused, and I will see you next week when I show you how to do different better.